Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this week's episode of Talk Exchange. Today we have a very interesting guest. It is Christina Redrup, who's the Vice President, Consumer Strategy and Media and partner at Communicate here in Toledo. Christina is a marketing expert and partner to Exchange because her firm developed the Exchange Club website. So I'm sure you've seen her work. Some of today's topics include billboards, spending, how to reach your target audience, geofencing, email marketing automation, social media, the importance of writing a blog post and how to make that a little bit easier, and how videos are key, and even a little bit of a conversation on feeding the media, which I thought was interesting. So we hope you enjoyed today's episode and learn just as much as we did, and we'll see you again next week.
Welcome to this episode of Talk Exchange. I'm Tracy Edwards, CEO of the National Exchange Club.
And I'm Christy Lindahl, Director of Communications.
Well, I'm super excited about our guest today. I know we say that pretty much every time because we've had such amazing guests, but this person is somebody that we've had the pleasure of working closely with, who's been a great partner of Exchange and really been the brains behind our shiny new website and some of the great things that we've introduced to our members and the public nationwide. So we're excited to have Communique's Vice President of Consumer Strategy and Media Partner, Chrissy Redrup. Welcome, Chrissy.
Thanks. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, I am too, because I know everything you're going to share. I was looking over your presentation today, and it's going to be so valuable for clubs. A lot of what we do, the name of this is Talk Exchange, because sometimes we talk about and to exchange clubs, and then we just have an exchange of information, which is kind of what we're doing today. But it's so relevant and so helpful to clubs, so I hope a lot of clubs tune in. And really, our fellow service clubs, too, and all of our nationwide listeners, and in fact, worldwide listeners, anybody who has anything to promote anything, and really everybody has something to promote, right?
Yeah. So Chrissy and her team have worked with us closely. I hope all of you out there who are members have seen our joint exchange video. That was her team. They flew out to Texas and met with a lot of our clubs out there. They've become very familiar with Exchange and our structure over the years, which is why it makes sense to have Chrissy come in and talk about marketing and PR for clubs.
Absolutely. And, you know, with our new public-facing website, all of that new language that's so important, they really forwarded our model into the future with everything that's so cool on that website. So I hope every member and beyond checks it out and uses it as a really important public marketing tool. So Chrissy, I'm excited today because this is so helpful to our clubs who do so much in the community, but no matter what they do, no matter how big or small they are, no matter how active they all are looking for the same thing, which is how do we create more awareness about what we're doing? How do we promote what we're doing? So I know you're here with some great advice based on your awesome experience on how clubs can market to their communities.
Well, sure. Put together 10 ideas for paid strategies and 10 ideas for free strategies. So we'll talk through some paid strategies first, and then we can get into the others. So what we want to do is talk about our mass media strategies first, but talk about how you can use them on a local level. So when we think about outdoor billboards and we think about how you can use them locally, geographically, that you can get them in an area really close to your club in your region. And there's two different kinds. You have your digital billboards and you have your static billboards, and there's advantages to both. Digital billboards are great when you have an event or something where you have a lot of messages you need to get out. Static billboards are the vinyls that go up, and you're not able to change those. You put them up, and they're up for 30 days or so. The advantages to a static board are sometimes they don't sell the space after you have the contract, and they stay up, and it's called a ride over. And
Nice.
you get free advertising then. So the boards stay up, and you have free space. When you have a digital campaign, your time's up. Those come down, so you don't get any added extra value there.
Good points.
You know, your timing is good on that too, because especially during the month of April, a lot of our clubs negotiate billboard space for National Prevention of Child Abuse Month. So that's a good opportunity for clubs to get their name out there. And Chrissy, we find many times too, billboard companies will even negotiate to donate some of that space in return for a little bit of paid space. So that's a great opportunity.
That's amazing. Yes, you'd be able to get something where you do have some static boards that then would be able to stay up past the month of April.
Yeah.
Yeah, for free space.
And I know a lot of clubs like the print media. I know that that's cut back quite a lot, but I've been to a couple of clubs lately that have great relationships in their communities with their print media partners. So tell us how clubs can maximize that usage.
Yes, a lot of the newspapers in the communities, the weeklies, those are still really popular. Those are read because they focus on all the local school news, what's going on in the community, what's happening with the city council. So those are still picked up, looked through each week. So ads in those publications and articles, any kind of public relations articles you can get in those are still widely read. So we encourage people to look into that as advertising vehicles.
And I know our community paper, our weekly, also publishes stuff online. So they carry over. You're getting on Facebook, their social medias, and their website. You're getting some carryover too.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And social media is huge for us, especially Facebook. What advice do you have for clubs who may want to utilize that as a marketing tool?
It's really great because you're able to target. You're able to put in who your audience is, who you want to look at, friends of friends, people that are following certain groups, people with certain interests. So you're able to go in and really, really target your audience so you don't have a lot of waste with who you're looking to reach with promoted social.
Can we talk a little bit more about that? Because I know Christy and I have had some questions about, for example, if a club has an event, what should they do to publicize that? Their concern, of course, is that if they put that on their personal Facebook page or even their club Facebook page, only those followers or friends are going to see it. How do you suggest they expand that audience?
Yes, so you put your event out there on your Facebook page, and then you're able to promote that event with paid media. So you're able to boost that, promote that, do a sponsored post, and then you're able to get that out there and target who you would like to reach. Then you set the parameters, you set the time frame, you set up the amount of money, and it'll tell you, your daily reach, and you're able to look at all the results and see how many people you're reaching. You can optimize that then to people who are clicking on the link to see what the event's all about.
So there's life and longevity of those ads, Chrissy. So obviously the longer you run it, the more people you're going to touch. But then you hit a certain point where it becomes stagnant. What is that happy spot in the middle?
You want to take a look at your frequency. So yeah, you like you said, you don't want to hit somebody too many times. So you really want to monitor when you're looking at advertising. You want to see how many times you are hitting people. So you want to hit them, 6 or 7 times, but you don't want to hit them 25.
Right.
So where they don't want to hear your name again.
Definitely.
Yes.
Definitely.
Now, for clubs that may be concerned about the cost of that, Chrissy, any idea, a ballpark of what a good starting point is? Because I know from our experience, you really don't need to spend much money to have significant reach, right?
Definitely. You can spend $50 or $100 to promote something. So you don't have to spend thousands of dollars on Facebook or Instagram or even LinkedIn to promote an event, to promote, any some of your service projects, anything you're doing.
Awesome.
Do you recommend more of a static image type ad, or do you think the videos, the short reels are a little more appealing?
Yeah. If you have video, that's the great way to go.
Yeah.
People that's very appealing. But yeah, whatever you have, if you have multiple photos, you can do a carousel.
Yeah.
So
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Definitely. How about radio ads? I know radio is still alive and well, and in our town of Toledo, in fact, our local radio partners are very supportive of events and things in the community. So how is it best to get involved in radio ads?
Radio is great because you can do 15-second, you can do 30-second spots. You can do some billboards where you get 10-second spots where you get name mentions. But you're able to then target who your demographic is to the different stations that you want. You can look at the morning radio, morning drive, afternoon, evening, depending on who your demo is and what you're trying to do. So you can get inexpensively put together a radio buy.
So what I'm hearing from you is some consistency here. Find out who your audience is and when you can reach them.
Yes.
Right? Then how?
Yes, exactly. And people consume things in different ways. So it's great if you have a budget and you can layer some of these tactics on together. So if you can do an outdoor board and then do some radio to go along with it with some social, because people are looking at things in different ways and you want to make sure you're hitting people as you go. That's
a good point, because there is a local group, a large nonprofit, who is hosting an event very soon. And I first heard about it on the radio. I didn't understand the event, so I went to their Facebook page, understood it a little bit more, and now you're seeing different advertisements on the TV. You're hearing it on different radio stations. So once somebody is touched with a message, it's easier to reinforce, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I recommend multiple different avenues, like you're saying.
Yes, and then having either your Facebook page or your website, then have all the information on it. So there's a place that they can go to really get all the rest of the information.
Yes, perfect.
Tying it all together with a nice little bow. Yes. I like that too, because to your point earlier, if people see the same ad 50 times on Facebook, they get tired of it. But if you are participating and just driving around town or online and you keep seeing the same thing but in different places, it does pique your curiosity, right?
For sure.
So there are a couple more options, Chrissy, available to our clubs and members and districts that require just a little bit of high-end tweaking, but they are very successful tactics. Do you want to explain those a little bit?
Yes. Some running banner ads and doing geofencing is a great way to reach your target audience. If you know that there's an event going on in town, and there's going to be a lot of people that are in your target, whether there's donors or people that you'd like to recruit to be in your club. You can, with geofencing, they draw an area. They draw like it's almost like a box around an area, and they target all the phones in that area, and they gather their IP addresses for those phones, and then they'll run ads on websites. On their phones for the next 30 days. So if they're on their apps and they're playing a game, or they're searching and reading news, or they're on websites on their phones, they're being served your ad. And then they can be driven back to the website then for more information, but you're able to get your message out there.
So that when people speak up and say, I think Google's listening to me.
Yes, it really is.
That is
where,
because you probably walked into an area that was being geofenced, and then they said, okay, we're going to target you now because you're our audience.
Okay, that's great. So many of us are the victims of like that. Let's turn around and use it to our advantage.
Let's target. Let's target. Yes. And then email marketing automation is one of the newer things that people are doing. And one of the things that's great about that is as you're meeting people out at events and you're gathering email addresses and you don't have time to follow up with people, you can set things up to automate to reach out to them. Oh, nice. And so you can set it up so you meet somebody and it sends an email out to them. And then based on whatever action they do with that email, then they get served another email. So if you ask them to click a link and they click the link, then a week later they get served another email. Or if they don't click a link, 2 weeks later they get served this email. If they watch a video, then they're served 2 days later, they could be served this email. So it's a customer journey that you develop, and then they follow that path. And then when they do that final action, then they fall out of that pool. But that final action then becomes, they become a warm lead, and they're doing whether they donate or whether you're ready to give them a call to have them join. So it kind of
sees the whole conversion process through.
Definitely.
Oh, this would be great for prospective members, community partners, that sort of thing.
I like that flow a lot.
I do too. Excellent. Yes. Okay.
So you'll see people call those drip campaigns.
Yes.
But a lot of times they're tied into CRMs or there's, marketing automation software out there that people can use.
That's
Interesting.
great.
That
Okay.
takes it
Yes.
to the next level.
It does.
So this one is kind of grassroots and been around for a long time. And I thought about this when I saw it on your list because I was at a school musical a couple of weeks ago, and that had been a while since I had been to one, and it took me back because they still had the program filled with ads, and I saw some community service organizations advertised. Great way to just, again, target market the parents and administrators and kids for our Excel clubs, right?
Yes, so these next couple are back down to these grassroots level things. But yes, ads in children's musicals at the schools, doing things at sporting events, sponsoring kids' sports, getting banners put up at the events, the logos on the T-shirts, program ads, that type of thing.
It's so much more than just branding a certain fundraiser or an event that you're hosting at a park. Right?
Yes.
This is a constant. People see this. I take my kids to their baseball games, right?
Yes.
You see the local the local businesses and the nonprofits. Exchange actually sponsors one of the fields that my kids play on. And it resonates with people, so they see it year after year after year, and that's who you want to support. You feel this duty to support them because they're supporting their community.
Right, and this one really has some depth for me personally because I believe that our sweet spot really in membership is new empty nesters, the people who are so involved in their children's lives. You have all the travel sports and everything, right, Brad? And you go to everything travel and you're constantly involved in everything going on at the school. Then suddenly they're off to college or to the next step, and these are the people who've been active, and now they have a little bit of extra time, they have a little bit of extra money, and to carry that over, exchange clubs and service clubs are the perfect way to do that. So this really has a lot of depth besides just getting the name out there. If clubs target that in the right way, they could really gain some prospective members from this type of advertising.
Excellent point, yes.
Yes, and then another grassroots thing, local grocery store, the cart ads, also bus bench ads.
Oh yeah,
and then high school scoreboards, the end zones inside the gymnasiums, that type of thing in the high schools. And then looking at theaters, cultural programs, those types of things in the community. Getting involved with your local, the ballet and your any kind of
performance type arts.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sure, any place
that.
where people really get together, because that's what our clubs do, is bring people together. So we've spent some time learning about paid marketing strategies, and I think what we've learned, the bottom line is you don't need to spend a lot of money to really get your name out there in the community in an impactful way.
Correct.
That's awesome.
Yes.
So now let's switch over. I know you have some great ideas too on free and possibly earned. I'm curious to learn how that works.
Yes.
I hear ears perking up everywhere.
Yes.
Well, some basic things. First, website and your Facebook page. You want to make sure that you look at those and make sure that your contact information is up to date, that you have information about us, what your mission is, information, photos about what you're doing, projects that you're working on, who's involved, things you're engaged in. Because if you live in a community and there's a lot of exchange clubs around your area, so we want to make sure all of your information's up to date and current. Because when you're in a community where there's a lot of different exchange clubs and there's different focuses, you want to make sure that people are able to go in and see what your area focus is, and see what they want to get involved in. Everything's clearly shown in there. And then you also want to make sure that they can see how to donate, and that's a very clear thing on your page there.
Excellent point. Chrissy, could you explain a little bit, when you go into a club's or any group Facebook page, you see transparency is rated, and you also see how quickly they respond to your messages. So, it's important that people realize that the page is active, that it has integrity behind it. So could you explain a little bit more about those two dynamics?
Yes, you want to make sure that you're going in and you're responding. Response is really important on Facebook. So you want to make sure that you're answering any kind of messages that come in. You want to make sure that you're responding to your audience if anybody's you want to make sure you engage on the page. So if somebody's commenting, if you're liking comments that are coming in, you're engaging and talking back and forth with people that are making comments to photos that are on there. You want to make sure you're tagging people in photos on your page in order to increase reach of those photos of your page then as well. So that's important.
Okay.
Well, that right there is gold if our clubs listen to that, because we always talk about how important it is to keep things current and relevant. And if they show up to the page and things are not current or relevant, or there's a lagging response time or no activity, that could turn someone away. So that's super important and a great free way to get your name out there.
And Facebook has a lot of ways to you can use that as a free tool. There are groups out there. So you could go to groups that are aligned with your mission, and you can go in there and talk about different things that they're talking about. You could seed some of those groups with articles. You can go in and just engage with those members of those groups. And there's a lot of them across Facebook, and you could that helps to then become a thought leader in that area, and people then will engage back with you, and then that's a good way to help with recruitment.
That's a great phrase, a thought leader.
I like that.
We need thought leaders out there making a difference.
It's really important to encourage your members to share content that you're posting on Facebook, and make sure that they're tagging you're tagging people there, but they're sharing on their business and their personal pages, because that's an important thing. You want to make sure you're promoting your weekly speakers, your monthly speakers, and that you're tagging them, but you're also tagging organizations that they're involved with. So are they on a board? Yes, they're involved. A lot of people that are involved with Exchange are probably also involved in other boards and other organizations. So you want to look at their bio. What else are they involved in? Also tag those organizations as well, because then people that they're involved with there will share out to those.
Point.
Definitely.
Yes. So we want to do that.
We've seen some clubs too, and I appreciate this. They cross post, so they might borrow an article from Boys and Girls Club, and bring that over to their site, and then you see some cooperation back and forth, and you've got some of that double audience then.
That's absolutely.
Definitely.
That's huge.
Win-win partnership right there.
Yeah.
Yes. Develop a content calendar for posting. So with Facebook, you want to make sure you're posting a couple times a week. With LinkedIn, that's more of a business focus. You could post once a month for LinkedIn. So you can post less. But developing a content calendar will help you see what you're going to post, when you're going to post it, and you can do something where you do a weekly post about this, maybe a weekly post that has to do with a service project that you're working on. And then you want to take a look at the National Awareness Days, because there's different days out there for everything. So you want to make sure you put those on your content calendar, so you're ahead of all those things that come up.
Excellent post. There's nothing worse than seeing it was National Social Worker Day that day afterward.
Correct. Yes.
For sure.
So if you build those out and you have that reference annually, that's a great plan.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And then a great way to increase followers, giveaways. If you have partners that you can get things from, or if one of your people in your organization works for a company and you're able to get and leverage some kind of giveaway, that's a great way to get people. They can share, follow, that type of thing in order to enter to win, and that's a great way to get
people love free stuff.
Absolutely.
For sure.
And being a winner.
For sure.
They'll share that post.
And, LinkedIn's really similar, and we talked about thought leadership, and that's a great place to be a thought leader. So with LinkedIn, you're going to want to make sure that you're looking at are there any articles that you can share that are relevant to your mission, and, make comments on them and share those to your page. Can you support members in their careers? Things that they have going on? Are there any positive things that have happened that you can share? Are there quotes or testimonials of things that you have that you can do that? So you want to just make sure that you're a resource for your club's mission on LinkedIn.
Perfect.
Absolutely. I like that. I'm getting some ideas now.
I know.
Yes. Awesome.
So then another free thing, and it's really important, especially when you talk about, searching and becoming, the top of Google search, is blogs and creating content. So blogs and newsletters are really important. So if we create websites, we do things, and we've got static content out there. If you're creating blogs and you're putting blogs onto your website, then that's keeping your site current. So it means that you have ongoing current information happening on your site, which helps with your search engine rankings. And then when somebody's out there and you just wrote an article about ways to get involved in the community. So someone's out there and they're searching, how do I get involved in my community? You're going to pop up first because you just wrote this article about it, and you're going to pop up because you're the most relevant content that's out there. And they're going to click on your blog post, go to your website, and they're going to get all the information.
Good plan. So not all of our clubs have websites. Not all of them have the capacity to support one. How else can they host a blog?
Facebook is a great way. So you can do that on Facebook or LinkedIn. So they can host blogs. You can do those right in the sites.
Nice.
So those are great ways to do that. And blogs don't have to be complicated. They don't have to be long. They can be something short. You could do a quote and you could comment on it. You could find an article and you could put one sentence about the article in it. What your opinion is on that article. You could do a Q&A. You could,
I like that.
you could highlight a member. There's so many things you can do with a blog that doesn't have to be a really long, drawn out, complicated thing.
Perfect. I mean, a lot of people think, blogs when they first came out, it was almost like digital magazine.
Yes.
You had to be an author practically to.
No,
Well, I like learning that it can be concise. And I also like the subject of newsletters because many of our clubs produce newsletters that are electronic. Many of our districts produce newsletters, but it stays within that small group, the members. So I'm just thinking that this information gives clubs and districts an opportunity to expand that in a different way, maybe via a blog, maybe via a Facebook page, right?
Yes, and if you can put the information, take it out of a PDF and put the content into a blog format, that's going to help with the search engines when they're crawling.
Good. Well, those are golden words because most of those newsletters are PDFs, right, Christy?
Yes.
So great exhortation to maybe tweak that a little bit, right?
Just pull some of those articles out and post them, on the blog.
We've never talked about that before.
Right.
That's an excellent point.
Absolutely.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
Yes. So another free thing, community partnerships. That is big. So, partner with organizations that support the work you're doing in the community. And promote them across social and across PR. But as you're working on things that are similar, you have similar missions. Get out there, work together to get the word out into the community.
Yeah, show up. Build this partnership and then sustain it.
Absolutely.
Nurture it. Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
And I know you have testimonials on your list, but those relate to those community partnerships because so many clubs give away money to their local organizations, places they support. They conduct fundraisers and then donate the money. And that's a great opportunity to get a testimonial from that organization, right? Which a lot of times it's just, here's your check, and they go on their merry way. But what a great opportunity for somebody to get out a phone and record a testimonial, right?
Yes. Absolutely. And videos are great.
Yes.
A photo's good, but a video is even better.
Yeah, and we'd rather see those than, the mugshot with the big check.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Because really we want to hear the impact, right?
Yes.
What did you do with this money? What are your plans for the money? And what's the value of having this exchange club as a partner?
Right. And one thing that doesn't come through on those type of photos is the emotion behind it.
True.
And everything seems so flat. So with the videos or testimonials, you're appealing to that personal level.
And you brought up a good point with the big check. Follow up. So what did they do? Here you did that, but what did you do with the money later?
Yes,
so that's
exactly.
Opportunity for more video.
Definitely,
Right,
definitely. Another thing that we do that's really popular with some of our clients, feed the media. So doing radio media tours, television tours. So if you have an event going on that's popular, look at something that some way you could feed the morning radio shows and set something up where you take some food in and you get interviewed and you go in and talk a little bit about what you've got going on. And the morning radio people, they love They love it when you bring treats in.
Donuts
So-
make everybody happy, right?
They do. So we call it Feed the Media. We try to get something
Yes.
that's relevant to whatever we're doing. So,
Sure.
we've made cookies that have logos on them, that kind of thing. But we've done other things depending what it is. But yeah, and the same thing with the television stations. And it helps just to get the word out. But when you go around and do that speaker's tour.
Sure.
And that's always a nice thing.
And I bet you're invited back more often.
Yes.
If you have treats.
Definitely,
Exactly.
definitely. You're always on the list.
That is so true.
Yes.
You know, and speaking of that, the media tours, that's a great idea, really. If you look at an event that you have coming up, but it's not something you can execute in 24 hours. You need to have a plan behind this. So, you know, for example, if you're watching Good Morning America, whatever show comes on after that, you might see the same guest, and you're like, what the heck's going on here?
Yes.
They're on a tour.
That's true.
Yeah,
Yes.
for sure.
promoting a book, a movie, whatever it is. So we want to do that on a local community level.
Yep.
Most definitely. And I like your upcoming points about supporting local economic development, because we always say that exchange clubs are the perfect place to join if you want to be involved in your community, know what's going on, and be part of it. That's a great connector for clubs and the community. Tell us about how they can be effective there, Chrissy.
Absolutely. You want to look at what's happening in the community and attend groundbreaking ceremonies,
Yes.
ribbon cuttings, new business openings, holiday parties, anything that's happening in the community. You want to make sure that you're a part of that and you're out there networking and meeting people and just making those connections. That's so important. So, yeah, there's a lot of things out there that people can do to promote their clubs that are fairly inexpensive or free and don't take a lot of time and that can be really effective for recruitment, for donations, to promote the service projects that are going on in the community. So it's really exciting to talk about. There's so many more that we didn't even touch on.
Well, I'm excited already, and I'm glad you touched on that don't take a lot of time, because our club members, certainly they volunteer their time, and they typically don't have a public relations or marketing expert in the club. So all of the things you described, you're right. I think anybody listening could effectively just say, I'm going to do this, and go ahead and get it done, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I can't wait to see what our clubs are going to do after listening to this episode, Christy.
I know. Hopefully we see some new, fresh ideas, some moving and shaking as, you know, the weather warms up, people come outdoors. We all
Yes.
seem to feel rejuvenated. So hopefully everybody starts putting their best foot forward and, you know, pulling up some new strategies.
Absolutely, and we'll see enhanced and increased social media marketing, and to hear more and more about exchange clubs doing the things they do all over the country and in Puerto Rico. So thanks to Chrissy Redrup from Communique. We really appreciate your experience and sharing this advice with us. This will make a difference in every exchange club across the country.
Thank you. This was so fun.
Thank you.
for
It
the
was
invite.
so fun. I loved it. And thanks to you for tuning in to this episode of Talk Exchange. Wow. That was